everybody, it's Mrs. Sharon. I'm going to read you the beginning of a book that I think some of you will enjoy reading called The Magic Misfits, and it's by Neil Patrick Harris. So Neil Patrick Harris, if you've never heard of him, he is a famous actor and a comedian. He was on shows like How I Met Your Mother, if you ever heard of that. Your parents might have watched it. Um, he's really funny. And so when you read this book, you can tell that it was written by a comedian. So it doesn't sound like your typical book when you're reading it. So if you are a person who gets kind of distracted when you're reading or loses interest, this is a book that might hold your interest because it's pretty funny. So I will start with the little map here. It's the town of Mineral Wells. That is an important setting in this book. And this book is about a kid named Carter who lost his parents when he was little. So his uncle was raising him, and his uncle just didn't treat him right. Things were not going well. So he decides he's going to run away in hope of finding a better life. So eventually he finds these 6 kids who he fits in with. They're all misfits in their own way. And he gets to do magic, which is the thing that he loves. So I will start reading so you get a little bit to know what this book is about. And if you like it, I'll show you how you can find it online to continue it on your own. So this is like a little prologue. It says salutations. This is before the first chapter. It's a little introduction to the book. So salutations. This is just a clever word for greetings. Do you believe in magic? Hi there. Yes, I'm talking to you. Well, do you? Do you believe in magic? If you're anything like the boy in this book, you might say no. But I assure you, there is magic all around you. It's true. Don't believe me? Look into my eyes and tell me you don't see magic. You can see all the eyes. Magic. See what I did there? Eyes. Eyes. You can stop laughing. I wasn't that funny, was I? But let's be serious for a moment. Magic can mean different things to different people. For some, it is pulling a rabbit from a top hat or sawing a person in half and then, hopefully, putting them back together again. For others, magic is a crisp autumn's day or a tender hug from a loved one. For me, magic can be a story, a game, a puzzle, or a surprise that takes my breath away in a single furious gulp. You see, magic comes in all shapes and sizes and colors and tastes and smells and feelings. Magic may even come in the shape of a book, perhaps the very one you're holding now. Or not, I don't want to get ahead of myself. But sometimes you might have a hard time remembering to seek out the magic in the world, just like the boy in this book. You might be too busy twirling cotton candy or too distracted by birds sitting out on the windowsill or too tired from organizing the attic to notice. But I assure you, magic does exist. You just have to know where to look. Use your nose or your tongue or your eyes or your brain. Of course, sometimes you can make it happen yourself. Would you like to learn about magic? I thought you might. Very well, repeat after me. Simsalabam. I'm sorry, I don't think you actually said that out loud. Please, repeat after me. Simsalabam. Louder. Simsalabam. Brilliant, you're proving to be a good student. Now turn the page. Wait. Hold on, stop. Silly me, I think I must have mesmerized myself with all those eyes earlier. I almost forgot one last vital thing before we get into the meat and potatoes of our magical story. Drum roll, please. First, I must explain how to read this book. I cannot tell you when or where to read this book. After all, you might read it on a bus or in a plane or in the back of a hay cart. You might read it while brushing your teeth or brushing your hair or brushing the fur of your Angora rabbit. You have one of those, right? You might read it in a bed, under a bed, or possibly while levitating several feet above a bed. If you're so inclined, you might read it in a bathroom mirror backward or upside down, or downside up. No, I can't tell you when or where, and I certainly can't tell you how. You may read it with your eyes open, or you may read it with your eyes closed. There is a way to do that, you know. You might read it backward or in a mirror, or you might have someone read it aloud to you. You might even find it helpful to read the last letters of certain words in a phrase. There is at least one part where you'll want to find all the capital letters in a section to see what they say. Nice to have options, isn't it? Most important, you should understand that within this book are lessons on magic, sometimes spelled magic with a K. Reading the chapters will give you a tale of adventure and woe and excitement and fun, not necessarily in that order. Reading the magic moments, or those sections hidden here and there, will aid you in uncovering the secrets of stage performance. If you read both types of chapters in order, you may find yourself saying, wow, as you discover an adventure and learn magic. For the most fun, might I suggest reading the book both ways? Now, magicians' secrets must be shared if they are to be passed on so future generations can accomplish even more amazing feats and dares. This is why I am sharing them with you. But I have a request. Keep the secrets secret. No sharing with your friends or friends of friends. No using them to cheat your neighbors. No shouting them from the rooftops of your town. Trust me when I say that turning a frown into a smile might be the most rewarding magic trick of them all. Much more rewarding than the opposite. Ah, listen to me blathering on. Let's dive in. Are you ready? Turn the page. So you would have to go back and you can figure out what this puzzle would be. Okay, now look at this. This is chapter 1. So all of that was before chapter 1. So if you're a person who normally skips things that happened before chapter 1, wouldn't you have missed a lot if you skipped that? So anyway, I'll keep reading since I've said I was going to read chapter 1. Now you'll get to know the main character, Carter. Chapter 1. In the darkness of a train yard, somewhere on the far edge of town, a shadowy figure emerged from a thick curtain of fog. The person looked back once before dashing alongside several rows of empty train tracks. Now, if you're anything like me, you might flinch when imagining a shadowy figure emerging from a nighttime fog in a nearly abandoned train yard lit only by distant streetlights. But you needn't worry here. It was merely a skinny boy named Carter Locke. If you were to worry about anyone at this moment, it should be the man who was not far behind, the man who was chasing Carter through the train yard, bellowing, "Carter, get back here! Don't you run from me, boy! I ain't going to hurt you!" This was a lie. The man very much intended to hurt Carter. Thankfully, Carter knew it. So he pumped his legs and clutched his satchel and strained through the murk to see which line of cars was chugging down the tracks and out of the yard. The wail of a horn blasted Carter's eardrums, and he stumbled across a rail. Several rows away, there came a familiar metal clanking. A rusty but colorful chain of cars clacked by, catching speed and whisking away the mist. Carter could see clearly now. He jumped over the tracks and raced to keep up with the moving train. From down the yard, the cars kept coming and coming and coming. Red, blue, green, yellow, purple, redder, black, orange, redder still. The colorful train reminded Carter of the first magic trick he'd ever seen. A gentle hand coming close to his face and pulling a red silk handkerchief from his ear, which was tied to a yellow one, which was tied to a blue one, which was tied to a green one, and so on and so on and on and on. It was one of the few memories Carter had of his own father. Instinctively, Carter touched his satchel, as if to make sure the small wooden box was still inside. It was. Carter ran alongside the train, eyeing each passing car for a place to board. Behind him, footsteps sounded in the gravel. Then a gruff, cruel voice rang out. "Carter, don't you dare hop on that train!" The clanging and banging did not drown out the man, who sounded closer now than before, almost directly behind him. I've got eyes and ears in every town between here and Timbuktu. You'll never escape. Hear me? Never. Carter tried not to think about what would happen if the man caught him. Instead, he focused on the locomotive. Light glinted off the heavy wheels below as they rolled upon the tracks. The problem with trains is that they are made of metal, and each car weighs a literal ton, if not more. Once they're moving, they move quickly. If Carter got too close, if he tripped, it would all be over. A bright yellow train car was now edging past him. Yellow reminded Carter of a bird he once saw locked up in a cage in the window of a pet store. Weren't birds designed to fly free? Carter took it as a sign that this was the one to reach for, the one that would take him far away from here. Its ladder was just out of reach. Jumping a train in motion may have been hard or even scary for some, but Carter had done it so many times, it came as naturally as plucking a coin from behind someone's ear or shuffling a deck of cards with only one hand. Unfortunately, the man who was chasing Carter found it easy too. As Carter was about to clasp the ladder, the man grabbed Carter's satchel and dragged him to the ground. No, Carter yelled. They both tumbled across the gravel, rolling beside the wheels of the yellow car that went bump, 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 over the rickety tracks, echoing the flutter of Carter's panicked heartbeat. He didn't want to imagine what would happen if the train left without him. So Carter didn't stop moving. He twisted his body until the rolling turned into a somersault. As he pitched himself forward, head over heels, Carter yanked his bag away from the man's grip, planted his feet on the shifting gravel, then leapt toward the train's last car. A ladder hung down from the rear next to an open door. Carter's fast hands grabbed the bottom rung, his taut tendons holding him tight. Climbing up and onto the ladder, he pulled his feet up and clung to the back of the now racing train. After catching his breath, he moved all the way to the top, taking a seat on the car's roof. The wind whipped his hair around. The train's horn cried out again from up ahead. Looking back, he saw the man kneeling by the tracks, arms raised in anger, screaming into the night and quickly shrinking into a dot that eventually disappeared in the murky distance. Carter waved goodbye to the town, to Miss Zalewski, and to the man who was chasing him. Though if it had been possible to wish the man a bad bye, Carter would certainly have done that instead. The sky turned a beautiful blue as the sun came up. After some time, the familiar rocking and loud metal churning of the train calmed Carter's heart and brought a yawn to his jaw. So he climbed down and into the train car. Inside, hundreds of boxes were stacked on wooden pallets. Plopping himself on the floor beside one such stack, Carter placed his satchel underneath his head like a pillow, then drifted off to sleep, dreaming about hope and fate and destiny and adventure, as well as a fleeting thought or two about the possibility of magic. Okay, so that was chapter 1. Chapter 2 is going to explain a little bit more about the background of the main character, Carter. So if you like this book and you want to read it, you can get it on the Libby app. So you can get the Libby app on your phone, Libby, or iPad. Or if you're on a laptop like me, you can go to libbyapp.com. You need your library card. So if you don't know where that is, ask your parents for help. Okay, so I'm already logged in, but if you're going to search, you could do Magic Misfits. And 2 books pop up. This one, The Magic Misfits, and then there's actually another one in the series. I believe there's 3 in the series now, but if you like this one, then you could read the next one too. Unfortunately, they don't have an audio version of this if you're a person who likes to listen, but you could probably get it somewhere else if you wanted to ask your parents to buy it. Anyway, Okay, so you just click borrow. It is available now if you do want to get it from Libby. And let me know if you do read it and if you like it and if you would recommend it. Thanks for watching. Let me know if you have any suggestions for books you want me to start out for you, since I'll have lots of time at home. Bye.